A few ladies request all that without responding. Numerous cutting-edge ladies anticipate that men should give them regard and deference without offering anything as a trade-off. Many men today find this expectation to be increasingly unacceptable. The idea that women should earn respect rather than just expect it as a default entitlement persists in this shifting landscape of gender dynamics.
I understand the frustration of women because what they're saying is there's not a big pool of good men.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie. You've
There's
even
not a
said
pool.
that. How many good men are there in this world? Not a lot of them. So please don't play with me.
Listen.
What?
There's not a lot of good men who want y'all. There's a lot of good men out there like where the good man at? Like they hiding under a rock or in a cave. They everywhere. They at the gas station. They at Costco. They at Equinox. They at the bank. They walking right past you and you don't show up on their radar because of the way you are. They're going to walk right by you. Okay. And you in LA. If you in LA or anywhere LA adjacent, your pretty face ain't going to go too far because everybody's pretty. Matter of fact, you ain't even got to be born pretty or wake up pretty. But when you leave your house, you're going to be pretty. So everybody's pretty. That's a prerequisite. So if that's all you got to offer, we're not looking at you. So there is plenty of good men. I am not rare in that way. I am rare in the way that I'm probably one of the only few good men that you have a close relationship to, but there's plenty good men. There's plenty good men. They just don't want your ass.
You're an absolute psycho if you have one-night stands for two reasons. One, you're able to sleep with somebody and then not consider them ever again. So that means that there's a part of you that is completely and totally emotionally numb to the act of love itself. The second part, you are willing to take something from somebody else without asking for it, meaning that you will selfishly meet your needs without any consideration of the other person. And I think that makes you a psychopath. The reoccurring behavior of having one-night stands after the other is not somebody who's meeting their needs. It's somebody who doesn't feel they're good enough to have those needs met by somebody that they respect.
This is what a woman behaves like when she has genuine burning desire for a guy. She'll show up on time, she'll call, text you without making the first attempt, she'll respond quickly, she'll enter your frame, she'll compliment your life, not be the focus of it. She'll often initiate intimacy with you unprovoked.
In a similar vein, the idea of chivalry, which was once regarded as a noble act performed by men toward women, is currently undergoing a reevaluation. Present-day ladies are being urged to see the value in demonstrations of gallantry, as opposed to underestimate them. The call for shared regard and correspondence and connections is picking up speed. Women are being urged to realize that respect must be reciprocated in order to be earned. Similarly, men's acts of kindness and chivalry should be acknowledged and appreciated, fostering a culture of gratitude and reciprocity.
I don't think women really understand the amount of work and trial and toil and failure and pursuit that a man does before he even shows up to you. So a lot of women think, oh, now you're here, you're going to do my bidding. No, he's already built himself. If you're dealing with a man, now if you're dealing with, a fun boy, you get what you get. So I think that's the first thing. We really don't understand men. We don't understand how hard they work. And the reason why men lead is because they're the ones that are willing to make the sacrifice. If we're really honest with ourselves, we're not. Men are willing to work and give most of it to the family. Most women, we want the big jobs, but we want it for us. It just is what it is. It's not better or worse. Women need to understand that a man is willing to sacrifice, so that means you also need to be working just as hard. And what are you willing to sacrifice? And it needs to complement each other. I think a lot
is chivalry and just basic common manners. I can say in my neck of the woods, I'm in the Baltimore area, I'm in the suburbs, people are generally pretty good about, holding doors open, thanking people, you're welcome, all of that. And, anytime someone holds a door open for me, or even sometimes if a man sees me coming and stands aside to let me go, I make sure I make direct eye contact and say, thank you, I really appreciate it. And most people do the same thing. And even when I go to my local post office, people hold the door for one another. It's just a very common and really beautiful thing that everyone is being, so courteous and conscious of one another's humanity. So, but you know, I hear in my comments that that's not the case where people are, or sometimes a man has held a door for a woman and a woman has been really nasty to him. So let me know, what is it like on manners and classic kind of chivalry in your neck of the woods?
Hey, quick question. What the is wrong with modern dating? Why is it that you like have to care and you have to like get to want to know somebody, but the minute that you do care and want to get to know somebody, then you're cringe and you're clingy, and like I think everybody is in the whole like I don't chase, I attract kind of mindset. But the problem is everybody's only trying to attract and no one's trying to chase. And then when they do chase, they're like, they see me as cringe. And yeah, people are gonna be like, well, the right one won't find you cringe. Okay, but it just seems like every single person these days finds any form of more than a text a day to be too clingy. I just think that's
We're in an interesting time where women are expected to do it all, where it's like you can have a full-time career and be a mom and be this boss, and I can do anything a man can do. I love that we have the opportunity to do that. I think that's so important, but I also think that you shouldn't feel bad if you don't want to do all those things, because just being a mom, that's the most important job in the world. You're raising a human. So if that's what you're doing, don't feel shamed or embarrassed or less than to someone who's like starting their own business or having a career. I think everyone's fulfilled by different things. I even remember my roommates in pharmacy school when I was doing this, she was like, I love that I get to go into Walgreens and clock in and out and I'm done. I don't have to think about it. And I was like, I hate having to go in anywhere and clock in and out. And I love that I can be at home, but I'm working 7 days a week. So know yourself and know what you want to do. And I guess, and then on the other hand, if you don't know if you want to be a mom and you really just want to focus on your career, that's okay too. I think there's also shaming in that direction.
The problem for these women, who are frequently referred to as leftovers, is caused by feminist and societal messages that maintain the idea of entitlement and perpetual youth, regardless of life circumstances like divorce or being a single parent. This narrative encouraged a sense of entitlement and a dismissive attitude toward decent men who were willing to accept their circumstances, which ultimately resulted in the rejection of men.
Hey, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she is so disheartened with the dating scene. And I'll say I have my own misgivings too. It's been very interesting. We're in the Atlanta market, and if you are at all aware, it's real special down here. But she's been dating for the last 2 years post-divorce, and she texted me yesterday and said, I'm done. I said, no. I said, you've just scratched the surface. She said, no, I'm done. I'm done. She said, I'll live vicariously through you and all the other folks and friends. She said, I can't do this anymore. And I think it's just really disheartening, because she is a beautiful girl, beautiful woman with a wonderful spirit, great character. And I think what all of us kind of in similar situation are finding is that there's too much craziness out here. Too many people are into polyamorous situations, dating multiple women, multiple guys at the same time.
Single mothers were not stigmatized in the past, and blended families were common. Men, on the other hand, have noticed a shift in the behavior of single mothers in recent years, noticing unreasonable expectations and standards. For example, a few single parents anticipate that men should take care of the expenses of watching their kids just to go out on the town. In a similar vein, some women who are referred to as 304S are looking for high-value men, while others, despite their physical condition, are looking for partners who have put a lot of time and effort into their fitness.
Chivalry is so dead. What makes you say that? Because every time I go on a date, there are literally 0 guys that know how to do it. What do you mean? Open my door? Pull my chair out? Pay the bill? The sidewalk thing? You know what I mean. Well, yeah, I do know what you mean, but I think you're just looking at chivalry the wrong way. Huh? Those things you mentioned are great examples of chivalrous actions, but chivalry isn't a checklist. It's a duty and an energy. I'm confused. See, if you go into a date with a list of items, and you just find yourself testing him on whether or not he performs them, then you aren't actually connecting with him or paying attention to what matters. What matters is that I feel taken care care of. Right, but you aren't testing that. Because his version of taking care of you might be different from your image of it. Maybe he held open the restaurant door, but not the car door. Maybe he was never taught the sidewalk thing. Maybe he didn't pull out your chair, but he made sure you were comfortable at the table. He might not be doing your ideal version of what you call chivalry, but he's still trying to take care of you. And I think you're probably missing out on some great men by rushing to judgment. Decent point. What are you doing? Deleting my chivalry list? You actually had a list? Yeah.
Fellas.
Men's willingness to have relationships with these women has decreased as a result of this shift, as they now view them as difficult to please or accommodate. Men are discouraged by what they perceive as unrealistic expectations and entitlement, which has resulted in a decrease in the prevalence of step-siblings and half-siblings. The accentuation currently is on cultivating practical assumptions and shared regard in connections, empowering all kinds of people to move toward dating with understanding and sympathy. These daydreams didn't just incite men to leave. Rather, they led to a peculiarity known as brown noses. Men began striving to meet these delusional women's unattainable standards. Regardless of their endeavors to please, ladies kept on censoring men internet, marking them as waste or powerless. Men eventually came to terms with their precarious situation. They perceived the worthlessness of putting resources into associations with these ladies. The possibility of carrying the baggage of others without receiving anything in return became apparent. Numerous men felt disappointed by the absence of correspondence and customary qualities from these ladies. Men began to reevaluate their roles and value in relationships when channels addressed these issues. Why should they settle for delusional women who offered little in return? They inquired. Men were able to ask women, "What do you bring to the table?" and demand accountability from them as a result of this introspection, as well as recognizing their own contributions. Modern women have high expectations, but avoid taking responsibility, which leaves men dissatisfied and looking for equitable partnerships. And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.